guess I'm recording. Okay. So, formula for circle. Gotta have it memorized. Here it is. Let's talk about what everything is. H represents the center. And it comes into two parts. It's the X part and the Y part of your center. Okay, we know that a circle has a center, and the distance from the center to any point on that circle is R, correct? And it is consistent, which is why it's circular and not elongated like an ellipse will be. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so when I ask you what's the center, it's in the form of HK. HK. And when I ask you what the radius is, remember this formula is what R squared is. So you're going to have to take whatever value is set equal here and take the square root of it. And when we take the square root of a value, we get a positive and a. But if I'm talking about a radius, it's just going to be the positive value. All right, so we'll start simple. Okay, here's my example. What's my center? 2, -3. Remember, whatever it's inside parentheses, you're going to want to think about taking the opposite sign. You're going to say x minus 2 equals 0, so x is 2, and y minus 3 equals 0, so y is 3. What's my radius? 25 under the square root gives me a radius of 5. So when we graph this, we always start by the center point. What? No, because our formula tells us that it's set equal to r squared. So 25 represents r squared. Yes. Okay. So to graph it, we start by the center at 2, -3. That's from that point on is how we determine our circle. Now that means I'm going to go from that point right how many units? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And left how many units? And up. And down. There we go. And then that's all you need to do. So then just kind of sketch it in, and there's your circle. Yeah. That's fine. Just curve it. Just show me that where your dots are going to be, okay? Your left, right, up, and down. And this one, I made an error. This should say equals. So the whole idea is to get it into that standard form. And it's not in standard form right now, is it? This next one? Let's rearrange it. X squared minus 6x plus y squared plus 4y equals 12. So you got to do some head scratching here.
So we factored the x and then we factored.
No, we rearranged. We just moved.
You do the 2 by 2 when you're factoring with like.
Well, let's think. I needed something quantity squared. And something quantity squared.
You pull up the x.
That's not going to give me anything quantity squared.
So would you square the whole thing?
No, can't square the whole thing, because then, remember, you don't just square each term. You've got to take that times itself. Come on, think. Huh? Think back. To maybe, when did we do it? Beginning of this semester? Well, I'm trying to get you to think about what you need to do. We did this with parabolas.
Oh, it's a 4-term thing, right? So you have to pull out something within the equal term.
No, but that's.
We factored. Computer. Complete.
The square. Complete the square.
That sheet that I gave you, remember, where we did a whole worksheet on completing the square. First term has to be 1, has to have you had this whole sheet on how to complete the square. We're going to complete the square for the x's and for the y's. Well, you can't forget that kind of stuff. That stuff has to stay in your brain. Yeah? This will.
I knew I kept my worksheet.
You got it?
I knew it.
Okay, so we're going to do it for the x's. You're going to have to be able to take this out into sections to keep yourself organized, okay? Let's do the x part. So I'm going to look at x squared minus 6x, and I'm going to complete the square with this. We're going to set that equal to 0 for right now. Remember, this term has to have a 1 in front of it, which it does, yes? So we're good. What do I do now? Negative 6, which is our b term, times 1/2 is negative 3. Square it, and we get, and then we add it to both sides. So we have x squared minus 6x plus 9 equals 0 plus 9. And what is this? This is x minus 3 quantity squared. Okay. Yes, this is the cloud thing. The cloud goes around this negative 3. If you want me to do it with the cloud. So we get negative 3. There's our little cloud. Negative 3 squared is 9, and that's what we add to both sides. Okay? You have a cloud. Huh? Yep, the coefficient. Let's do the y part. Keep in mind what you just added on the right side, that you added that 9. Now let's do the y part. Y squared plus 4y equals. So that means I'm going to take the 4 and multiply it by, and get, there's my little cloud. Take that 2 and square it, and what do I get? 4. So I have y squared plus 4y plus 4 equals 0 plus 4. Yes? Which is y plus 2 quantity squared. Yes? And remember, this 4 we want to keep track of. Just like this 9 we want to keep track of. Okay. Nope. Because the 2... Nope, because we're completing the square. Otherwise, you're going to go right back to where you were. All right, so let's go back to our problem. We started with x squared minus 6x plus y squared plus what? Equals 12. And we converted that into x minus 3 quantity squared, right? And what did we add? So we're going to have to remember to add that plus 9 on the right side so that we keep our equation balanced. And then we did our y's. And our y's became y plus 2 quantity squared. And what did we add with the y's? So we got to remember to add a 4. So what we just created was x minus 3 squared plus y plus 2 squared equals 12, 9, and 4. Give me what? 25. Twelve and 13 is 25. So then what's my center? 3 comma negative 2. What's my radius? So see, you cannot figure out what any of this material is saying until it's in standard form. And so you have to sometimes complete the square. Okay? So now we can graph it. Our center is at, is it 1, 2, 3? Is it 3, negative 2? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know if it's the same thing or not. Okay, there you go. All right, so look at it again. We got to complete the square when you want to get it in standard form. If it's not in standard form, you got to remember to do that. Okay? All right, given the center and the radius, write the equation and sketch the graph. It is x minus what? H quantity squared plus quantity squared equals, okay, what is my H? Nope, -4. What's my K? 6. So it's going to be x minus -4, yep, plus y minus 6 equals 4 squared. So it's x plus 4 squared plus y minus 6 squared equals 16. And now you just graph it. So we know that the center is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I know that I ran out of room, but I'm going to go up, over, left, and down 6 units, right? Are you with, or 4 units, correct? Let me do this over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's r squared, right? So we're going to go right 4 units. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up 4 units. 1, 2, 3, 4. Left. 1, 2, 3, 4. And down. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wait, how did you get that?
Well, I gave you what the center was in the radius.
My graph is left.
-4 means to the left, and up 6. So it's in quadrant 2. And then I'm going to go from the center, right 4 and left 4. And from the center, up 4 and down 4.
Right, I got that, but like, I don't know, my graph looks.
I don't know. Ellen, look at hers. What'd she do?
Did you go by 2?
Oh, I went by 4.
You didn't go up 6.
I don't want to go up. Oh, I gotcha. This point should be further up, right?
Right.
Okay, my bad. So I made a mistake on that. Okay. Okay, the center is at 2, 4, and passes through the point 1, 2. Find the circle. What am I missing to write the equation? I did? Okay, what is it? 7x squared 400 and hooey? Okay. Standard has no values in here. So can we divide everything by standard? So x squared plus y squared equals 63? Okay. So what's my center? 0, 0, right? Would you agree? There's nothing with the x's and nothing with the y's, therefore it's 0, 0. And what's my radius? So it's a square root of 63, agreed? Which is about, we can say about 8, 7.9, about 8. That. 2 squigglies. Instead of straight, it's squiggly. So we're at 0, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 8. All right, Emily, this should look like yours this time. What's the next one? Okay. All right, the center is at 2, 4, and the circle passes through the point 1, 2. Find the equation. What's missing to write the equation? Okay, I don't have r. I know what the center is, so what I have is x minus 2 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals r squared. That's what I have so far. It is a formula, a form of the distance. And you plug in 1 and 2 to figure out what r is. So I'm going to say 1 minus 2 squared plus 2 minus 4 squared is r squared. And yes, this is the distance formula. It keeps popping up. So this is negative 1 squared plus negative 2 squared is r squared, right? So what is r squared? Yep, r squared is positive 5. So r is the square root of 5 then, right? And so my equation is going to be x minus 2 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 5, because I want r squared is what it has to be set equal to. You've really got to know this formula. Memorizing is one step, but understanding what everything means is another step. Y'all good? Because that's 1 plus 4. 1 plus 4 is r squared, so 1 plus 4 is 5. I could have, yeah. So to find square root, if r squared is 5, then r is square root of 5. Like if I gave you 16 was my r squared, what was rb? All right. I can't because I'm adding two terms. I cannot. That's like doing this. The square root of 4. So you're telling me that if I do 4 plus 16 is equal to x squared, you're going to tell me to take the square root of that? And so you're really telling me 2 plus 4? You're right. You have to add them together. You have to have a single term, and I can't add these together. Does that make sense? All right, so here, given the points of a diameter, write the equation of the circle. Where, if this is the diameter, what do we know about the diameter? Okay, so where does the center fall on the diameter? In the middle. Therefore, using midpoint gives us the center, yeah? So 2 plus negative 2 for my x's over 2 gives me x is 0. And for y, I'm going to say 5 plus negative 1 over 2, which is 2. So currently I know that my center is at 0, 2. What? What did I just do here? Can't you just see? Okay. I add and divide by 2. Midpoint is an average. You add your x's, divide by 2. You add your y's, divide by 2. You cannot forget these very basic formulas. They are all over the ACT and SAT. Yeah, it's not slow. All right, so if we know the center and we know another point on the circle, I can do x minus 0 squared plus y minus 2 squared is equal to r squared. And I can figure out my radius by plugging in, yes? Does it matter which point I choose? No. So I'll do the first one because it's just first. 2 minus 0 squared plus 5 minus 2 squared is r squared. So that's 4 plus 9 is r squared. So what is r squared? And so I want to write the equation. That means it's going to be x minus 0, which we're just going to say as x squared plus y minus 2 squared is equal to 13. Y is what's minus? Okay. On the circle. We knew that these were on the circle. We defined it. We said that the endpoints of the radius are those 2 points. So they're on the circle. But I can't just arbitrarily pick like 3 and 5 because it may or may not fall on the circle. Okay, find a point where x minus 2, y equals 2, and the circle x squared plus y squared equals point. You don't have that one? Okay, then skip it. Oh, you do have this. What the heck? You have this one? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tangent to the y-axis. What does tangent mean? Touches. Does it cross? It comes, and so this circle is going to come around, and you don't have to be perfect here, but do you agree that it just kind of touches it and then continues to go around? Y'all good on that? Why would I tell you that information? Okay, what's my radius? You tell me. It's going to be this distance, right? And so my radius is 5. I get that from the fact that I said tangent to the y-axis, and so that left to right distance gives me my radius. Because if it's 4.5, then my circle comes to right here, and then it's no longer tangent to the y-axis. Okay? So that means now that x minus 5 squared plus y minus negative 4 squared is equal to 5 squared. So that's x minus 5 squared plus y plus 4 squared equals? You got it. We're just using the same formula over and over and over again. Do I have that? Yeah, this one doesn't make sense. Okay, so you tried these ones. Graph. So if you're going to graph, you got to tell me what the center is and what the radius is. Do you have both of these? Okay, what are you going to have to do with this second one? Complete the square. First one should be pretty easy, right? The second problem, you have to complete the square. No, this one I gave you everything, right? So start by writing your formula so that you have it right there in front of you. Yep, you should. Mine kind of looks like an egg, but that's what the first one should look like. I did, well, it's a little over 4, but then you can graph like right around 4. so plus 4, right, equals 0 plus 4. Okay, so that's y plus 2 quantity squared. Isn't that y minus 2?
Oh, yeah.
Here's
Right.
you forgot this. You got to use parentheses. So this is y minus 2 because it's this value. There's your cloud. Is equal to 4, right?
Oh, yeah, I forgot it always equally stacked.
Right, that's why we put the cloud around there, right? See all these arrows? And so we're going to take this part and we're going to say x plus 1 squared, right? And we're going to take that part and we're going to say,
Y minus 2 squared.
and we're going to take that 3 and then add
4, so we're going to get
and
4. Oh, 5.
4 and 1, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, well, and then graph it. Okay.
So I got here, would this be r squared?
Yes, that's always r squared. That's always in the traditional formula r squared.
So then if I'm writing the equation, I just leave it like that?
Uh-huh. Because it has to be equal to r squared. Hold on. Yes. Okay, so did you get the radius to be root 8, which is 3? Okay, and then, so, yeah. And so center is at negative 1, 2, correct? So negative 1, 2, that means we're going to go up, 1, 2, not quite 3. Left, 1, 2, not quite 3. Down, 1, 2, not quite 3. And 1, 2, not quite 3. So that's what you got. Well, you should cross the dots. Just make sure that it looks reasonable.
Yeah, it's not like, here's a dot, here's a
Yeah, don't, yeah. That's fine. Just take your time when you graph it. Okay? Are we good? Remember how to complete the square now? You've got the rest of the time to start on homework.